Social media and everything and YouTube, they make infinite banking sound like it's impervious, it's perfect. But when does it not work? I want to address those concerns with you right now because that could cost you dearly if you're not careful. So like I said, social media, and especially lately, we've heard all this stuff about infinite banking. And a lot of people, there's definitely enemies of infinite banking, but there's a lot of people that also support it. Generally, they're the life insurance agents that say, hey, it's the best thing ever since sliced bread. And I get it. I heard the same thing in 2006, and I thought, well, maybe it is. And I bought a policy, and I got it from the agent. And I remember thinking, this is freaking expensive. Should we change it? He's like, no, we can't. This is what it is. And I bought it. 2 years later, the recession hits. I'm going broke. I can't afford to pay the premiums. And I lost 25 grand. It cost me dearly. That was money that I could have used that was gone. Only to find out later that the agent lied to me. He could have actually done a better job, but didn't. And as a result, I ended up firing him. I ended up not using him, and I stopped referring friends and family to him, and he's no longer in the business anymore. But I'll tell you, since the last almost 20 years now that we're going on, about 18 years, I've been finding ways of how to do it right. But I've also found a lot of things I've seen that really concern me about how it's been done wrong. So let me talk about some of those things. As an example, one of the things I see a lot, some people will talk about, especially in the real estate investing space, they'll say, dump in a ton of cash up front, and then you can pay a low premium on the back end. But then you can pull that money out immediately and start using it. The one thing they don't often explain to you is that in that first year is the heaviest commissions, the heaviest fees for the insurance costs. Which, by the way, the insurance costs, many people ask how insurance agents are paid. You take the insurance costs that are coming out of your policy, take a percentage of that, that's what the insurance agent is paid. So people will dump in a lot of cash, and they're just like, oh, cool. Now I've got, I've dumped in, like I had a client and a friend actually that said, hey, this guy says I should throw in $750,000 and then I can just pay a lot less, like maybe a lot less. For some of you, it would not be a lot less. It was like a couple $100,000 a year thereafter. And I told him, I said, well, tell me about your situation more. Let's go deeper in your financial situation, your cash flow. Found out, I said, listen, if you dump in $750,000, that's fine and all, but you'd be better off just doing $250,000 a year for several years in a row. Why? Because for you to be able to throw in $750,000, you got to triple the life insurance death benefit. So what a lot of people don't realize is that the IRS, they used to have very lax rules on how you can, because this is a tax-free high yield savings account. There were a lot of millionaires out there saying, I'm just going to buy this tiny little policy and stuff in millions and millions of dollars. IRS caught wind of that and said, no. We gotta put some guardrails on this a little bit. We'll make it to where, yes, you can dump in a lot of money, but the more money you dump in, the bigger the death benefit has to be, which means the bigger the costs are going to be too. Well, if you dump in $750,000, that's 3 times that $250,000. What happens is now you've tripled the death benefit and therefore tripled your cost. And guess what? Most of those costs happen in the first 2 years. So you're literally paying a huge amount of costs. Now, the only person that usually wins from that is the agent, because the agent says, cool, I just tripled my commissions from what it would be normally. Now, is there a time that you could possibly do that and make sense? Sure, maybe. Most of the time, not. That's why I told my friend, I was like, listen, cut that thing in a third, pay more steadily throughout, and you'll actually make a higher rate of return on your money. Your money will go farther than trying to run up those costs 3 times, and then you have to keep paying for those costs every year, right? And so that was a big thing right there. So don't believe that just dumping in cash is a good thing, because if you throw in $750,000, even at best, you might be able to pull out like $500,000 or so of that money. So you're like, great, I just lost a couple $100,000 for nothing when I can only access $500,000. What's the purpose in that? There's not a good purpose for that. Versus I could put in $250,000 and then maybe $50,000 pulls out in cost. Now I've got $200,000 I can actually use, and I've got the $500,000 as well that I did pay in. And guess what? Now I've got $700,000 I can invest right away. At least with the way we do design it. And that leads to my second point. The other thing that's very dangerous, and this is what I bought my policy as, is that traditional whole life policies, the reason why Dave Ramsey rips on them so badly is that the traditional policy is actually upfront, not just heavy on the fee side, but all of your money goes to cost in a traditional whole life policy. That means first 2 years, you paying that money, it's all going into there. I'll give you an example. And it's not about the insurance company. That's another false thing. It's not the insurance company that's going to make it better, although they help. because I had a guy reach out to me. He was an insurance agent. He says, Chris, I know you work with this insurance company. I just got this woman's policy that she set up this last year. She's putting in $60,000 a year. He's like, can you look at it and see if we could do it better? Guys, this is what it looked like. If you can imagine this, she put in $60,000 year one. All of it went to insurance cost. She put in $60,000 year two. All of it went to insurance costs. That means she's paid 120 grand and she got zero in this tax-free savings account. Year three, she puts in another 60,000. She finally has 30,000 bucks. So she put in 180,000 to only have $30,000. And the guy says, well, could you do better? I said, come on, man, this is easy. And I showed him, I said, look, in our example, because we found out ways to pull different levers to lower the cost as low as it can go while keeping it tax-free, not breaking those tax-free limits. I was like, we can actually do it to where she puts in 60,000 and look, year one, it's not zero, it's $50,000. I was like, well, look at this, year two, she puts in that 60,000 again. And now she's got $108,000, not zero, 108,000. Ultimately, guys, this, what it means is that we've saved her already in the first 2 years, $108,000 in costs, right? Year three, she puts in $60,000. And now at this point, now it's actually at $163,000 is what it got to. So by year five, she had more in there than what she paid in already. That's the thing that was really cool. That's what actually got me excited about it again when I got ripped off, is when I realized not only could I have a death benefit, but now I have this money that's in here protected from lawsuits and creditors. Like I got millions in here, they can't touch it. And I'm making like 6% a year tax free on my money. I'm okay taking those little bit of upfront costs to now get my money working harder. It's kind of like if you're driving down the freeway, you ever been stuck in a lane? You're like, okay, I know this is the slow lane, but, and I can see this other lane next to me is going faster. And so you brake, you create a little bit of space. You kind of go slower. You'd think that's bad because you're trying to get somewhere faster, but you brake a little bit, create space, so then you can turn into that lane and get in the fast lane and pass it eventually. That's what we do with life insurance. Yeah, you might have to go a little bit slower, but you can get in that passing lane and go much faster than you would keeping in a crappy little 0.0% bank account that you get taxed on every year. So that's one of the cool things you can do. So be aware of, like I said before, putting a big lump sum up front. Two, thinking that, paying those hefty insurance costs up front are just part of life. That's not the case. You have an option. And then three, another one is they try to make you use it as a bill pay account. This is a horrible idea. One, most insurance companies now are starting to actually hate the idea. You would think insurance companies want people to put more money in, but they don't want people to put money in to the detriment of themselves because they can't afford to pay all those hefty premiums because they're trying to put all their paycheck in. Many companies will say, absolutely not, you cannot do that. And that's one of the big lies that happens too, is that these guys are saying, put all your paycheck in, and then you can just use it to pay your bills every month. You'll make more money. You'll pick up a couple bucks of interest every year. Not worth the pain and hassle, for one. And then two, guys, like the problem is, again, you put in more costs, more of those premiums. Well, then if something goes wrong, you're now committed to some of those premiums, especially if you do it the traditional way. So that's another big mistake that I see out there. All right, let me think. Let's try and see if I come up with another fourth one. There's a lot of them. Oh, here's another mistake that I see too. Many times you will hear people say you should buy your cars with it. You can buy houses with it and do all that kind of stuff. And I used to believe that was the case until I learned how they really work. Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, you can withdraw money out of it like a savings account. But the problem is when you withdraw money from a savings account, you've now stopped earning interest on it. But did you know with life insurance, especially whole life insurance, you can actually borrow cash from the insurance company. Now, yes, you pay them interest. Don't believe for 1 second they say you pay yourself back interest. That's a lie. You're paying them interest. They're charging you interest. But the nice thing is, at least you're not required to make monthly payments because they know that this money is guaranteed over here and they're paying you interest all the time, which pretty much is offsetting this interest over here. They don't require you to make monthly payments. And that's the beauty of it. When you borrow from them, now all your money in here is compounding interest tax-free. Even if you're paying them interest, the thing is that's simple interest you're paying, you actually make more money. But one thing I've seen as a mistake is they'll say, well, yeah, use this to buy your cars, buy your houses with it. I will tell you from my own experience as an investor, I love getting cheap bank money. Because because the lie they keep telling you is you're paying yourself back interest. And that's what they have to lie to tell you to get you to want to just do that strategy. But I've learned, no, you're still paying the insurance company like they're the bank. You're paying them interest anyways. Whether you pay it monthly or not, you're paying them interest. So if I get a situation where, like just a few years ago, my family was in a car accident, the car was totaled, we had to go buy a new car. They said, hey, we'll offer you a 3.7% financing. Well, that's lower than trying to get a 5% loan from my life insurance. I said, good, give it to me. For two reasons. One, the interest is lower, so I'll save money on interest than using my own policy. And then two, it allows me to use the bank's money, so then it frees up this other money to then invest with it and do more things with it. That's the thing that from an investor or even a business owner perspective, you have to consider. I mean, even if they gave me the same interest rate, I would still take the bank's money. Heck, even if the interest rate was a little bit higher, I would still take the bank's money. Even if they were charging me 5% on the insurance loan versus getting 7% from a bank, I'm going to go get the 7% loan for the bank because I know I can use their money while I can still let my money be available to use. Because I'm telling you, having liquid cash available is essential to create more optionality, more options in your life. And with more options creates more freedom. So I use it for that. So I know I don't go buy houses or I get my mortgage from my bank. I use that money and leave my money in my life insurance to do better things, to make me more money, or to be a great place to store cash in case of emergencies or opportunities. And that's what I use my money for. By the way, I'm not saying that getting these loans, these lines of credit from the insurance company are bad. The cool thing is you can get the line of credit without having to use your credit. It's a private loan. It doesn't show up in your credit score. You don't have to do any qualifications or send bank stamps or anything in. It's nice. So yes, if I do get my bank loan from the bank, I do have to often send them, paycheck stubs or at least state my income in certain ways or even just show them tax returns or whatever else. I have to go through a process. But with my insurance loan, because they know it's collateralized because it's got guaranteed payments coming in, guaranteed interest that it's earning, they don't require me to do anything. I just have to say, hey, I want to borrow X amount of dollars. And then a week later, I get it in my account. So that is one thing that is kind of nice having an insurance loan. But again, I much prefer to use the bank's money. Now, guys, I can go on a long time on this. There are so many things I see that's often wrong in the insurance industry and how these guys teach it or even set them up. The biggest thing is you're probably asking this question is, how do I know I'm going to get the best thing? And I would just say this, the only way you can know is look at the numbers. And a great way to do that, if you want to know more about this, go to moneyripples.com/infinite-banking. Not only can you learn more there, but you can also set up an appointment and say, hey, I've been looking at these numbers already, or what would these numbers look like? Like what's a good one look like versus a bad one? I want to see the difference. And that's where you can actually see the difference for your situation and see what's actually best. So go check that out right now. Now, if you want to know more about where does it work and where does it doesn't work, go watch this next video right here.